Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Partnership Guys podcast. I am Todd Leonardis. With me, I have, as always, Rob Stoker and Steven Schneider. We are the Partnership Guys. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 18 of the podcast. We really appreciate you guys coming and checking in on us. We're putting up some good stuff. I know it. We've gotten awesome feedback, and we are really ultimately here to help you get to the win. And we help consult people get to, when they want to build a partnership, when they need to fix a partnership, when one partner might need to exit a partnership, or certainly when partners need to end the partnership. And we try to do that without bringing in, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal bills. So that's really where people have been getting their value from us. That said, today, we want to talk about something that sometimes causes some partnerships to fail because they're not communicative about it. So, really what we find is how do you handle when one partner is burned out and the other isn't, when you have that different energy level? Because burnout is not just an individual problem in a partnership. One partner's burnout affects everybody in the company, but especially the other partner or partners. Because, sometimes burnout doesn't always look like burnout, dark circles under the eyes, not, looking exhausted. It sometimes is more than that. People all present differently when they're burnt out. We've seen people that are burnt out that it just shows up as frustration, negativity, disengagement, impatience. And many entrepreneurs don't really recognize that they're burning out until it really is affecting the partnership in a very meaningful and serious way. Because it doesn't really announce itself. It just shows up, in disguise as frustration or anger a lot of times. So, guys,
I know over the years, Todd, you've called me out on this kind of a thing.
Yeah.
When I seem frustrated, I know that's when I'm burned out. I feel overwhelmed. I feel like I can't get anything done. Nobody is helping me. And it shows up as this, not so much anger, but for me, but more like frustration and tiredness. Like I feel stuck. And so, that's how I know when I'm burned out. And it's not like sleepy tired. It's not like I didn't get a good night's sleep. It's deeper than that. And so, that's how it really kind of shows up for me.
And it's not linear and there's no simple answers. So I think a lot of people think of burnout and they think, okay, just get away from it and, take a weekend or take a vacation. And that can definitely help. Sometimes you just have to get away from it and that's all you need is to clear your head. But there's other times where I've seen it where it makes it worse. You're getting away from it, but it's still all in your head. And the second you walk back in the door and do it again, those same feelings are all going to come. So just like with everything else, I think the most important thing is to constantly communicate what you're feeling, what you're going through, and have a business partner that understands all of it. And that's why I always say I need business partners because, like burnout is not linear. It doesn't just happen and then it's just fix it. And then you're just back to not being burned out. And then you work hard and then you get burned out again and you fix it. It's like this. There's mornings I wake up, I'm burned out, but then by lunchtime, I'm re-energized and whatever it is. And just about every night I'm burned out. I sleep very well because I feel like it was a long day and a lot of work. And, for the most part, I'm excited to wake up the next morning and finish all the things. But there's certain times where, it's the opposite that, it's just not an easy fix. And just having, great partnerships where your partner can understand that. I'm seeing it with you two. I've seen it, for a long time with you two. I've seen it with other great partners I've had. And then I've seen what happens the other side of a bad partnership and how that burnout just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And you just take everything out on each other and it's just not good for anybody.
And the truth of the matter is the burnout might actually not be from the physical work or the mental work you're doing in the office. People go through different seasons of life. Partners, go through different seasons because like anything, life happens outside of work, right? We talk about work-life integration, right? It just bleeds in at this stage, the way that we're forced to work these last decade or two. It's gotten much quicker and much more compact, so life does creep in. You might have issues with the kids, health, aging parents. Stephen would help me through that when I was dealing with that and other personal challenges that we could talk to talk to you about hours and hours of that, have burnt me out at one point or another, that I needed my partner to really kind of step up and help me, not only help the business, but help me. Because business prep and quite honestly, business pressures do hit people differently and at different times. So, just because you're burnt out now doesn't mean that your partner might not be burnt out, next month. And it's really about having good good communications, talking about this stuff on the regular, being familiar with each other's lives. So, I have noticed that great partners do understand seasons, and really great partners can even eventually start to see them coming before the person is going to go through them.
I mean, we found over the years that it's like a wave, right? Like you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down, and our waves have rarely synced up, which has actually been a good thing because it means that when one person's up, one partner's up, and the other partner's down, we can cover for each other, right? And that's where we learned all about like 60-40, and we learned about being vulnerable and sharing, when we're having challenges in life, and when we feel burned out or when we need to take some time to kind of recharge and sharpen that blade, right? And so, it's been great over the years just trying to recognize those moments. And Todd probably recognizes them in me before, like he was saying, before I even see him. And so, being able to have a partner that you can communicate those things with and that can see those things in you makes all the difference in the world.
Can support you, like you said, the two of you, one's up, one's down, and it works. And that's what a sign of a great partnership is, that it works when it's like that, not that when one's up and the other's down, that the one who's up is kicking the one who's down, or there's any animosity there. For it's just all about picking each other up when you're down. And it happens all day long. It's, I can think I'm feeling great and I can walk into one of my, Bubba Coos burritos and see something, and all of a sudden, it's down again. And then, I'll leave and something will be up. And it's just, having a partner that understands the ups and downs. So there are times where I don't feel burned out at all, but then the next thing comes. We're all leaders. Things come all day long, and something comes, and all of a sudden I instantly feel burned out. I instantly went from feeling great to like, I don't want to deal with this. I can't deal with this. I would much rather get away from this. And to have a partner that instead is like, hey, we're not getting away from this. We're going to deal with this, and we're going to go forward. And I'm not going to let you get burned out from this. I'm not going to let this fester for you. And, that's what I was saying before about sometimes when an issue comes, the answer seems like, let me just get away. Let me just go, and, I'll deal with that Monday and I'll get away from it. Guess what? You come back in Monday, it's still sitting there. That issue is still sitting there. And
weekends go fast.
Exactly.
The weekends go really
real
fast.
fast. And not only that for me, but it probably ruined my weekend too, because I was thinking about it all weekend long. So what's better than on a Friday when it comes through to walk into your business partner and say, hey, I want to deal with this before the weekend so I can enjoy my weekend, and getting that support back and dealing with it together. It's the beauty of a partnership. It's, we both want to have a great weekend. Let's get this done today, even if that means we're here till 7, 8 o'clock tonight, and we're going to have a great weekend together.
Even if you don't solve that problem on Friday afternoon, the fact that you sat down and communicated with your partner, and that come Monday, you're going to work on that together. Right. That's really the key thing, is recognizing when your partner is struggling, when they are burned out. What are the signs that show up when your partner is starting to burn out or feels overwhelmed, and then addressing those things and communicating those things, what you're seeing, and being able, more importantly, to be able to take that in without ego, right? Not get offended. There's been a million times. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, partnerships, they're really not about equal effort every day. They're about the support over time. So, and really the communication over time. So, you talked about like recognizing warning signs. I mean, when communication drops, that's a great warning sign when communication patterns start to change. And, there's countless other things that can show. But as you get to know your partner, you know when they're getting disengaged, and being able to say, hey, I see what's going on, what do you need from me, is really been what has helped Stephen and I kind of get through all the seasons of life that we've been through over the last 25 plus years. So it's really key to kind of recognize when energy might be disappearing, enthusiasm might be disappearing, things are blowing up. Literally making mountains out of molehills, just blowing stuff up, like these little minute details.
Like when you're in it, you don't see it, right? It's
You
the
don't
other
see it.
person sees it. I mean, I don't know how many times, Todd, you've said to me, dude, are you okay? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
And sometimes I can literally see it on your face. You know, like that's all that I'll be like, oh.
And that gives me a
We
chance
need to
to just
talk.
kind of step
We need
back
to
for
talk.
a second and just, you know, take a beat. Like, okay, I got it. I'm
I think
feeling
sometimes
overwhelmed, and you know, I just need some help.
you're rooting for each other. You're both rooting for each other. We're all rooting for each other here. You know, we want to see each other happy, want to see each other fulfilled, and the opposite can happen in a bad partnership when there's burnout. My 10-year lawsuit, that partner and I, we were trying to burn each other out. That business did not last long, and we were trying to do everything we could to burn each other out. So he had a full-time job. You know, I was out talking to customers, townships all day long, and then he would come over, you know, when he was done with his job, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and it was, did you do this? And I could say, yes. Did you do this? 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 Oh, no, I didn't get a chance to do that. Oh, that's why, you know, whatever. And it's trying to get under my skin, trying to burn me out, because that then will say, okay, you can't handle this. I can handle it. And, you know, it's, this business is better run with just me, is what it became really quickly. And then guess what? I answered that with the same thing back of, you know, rooting
It's a
against
downward
him
spiral.
and wanting to burn him out and wanting to frustrate him and rooting against each other in a business partnership. What could be worse than rooting against each other in a business partnership? It was doomed from the start. And what masked it all was that checks were coming in, money was coming in.
Success, yeah.
We're making money.
Yeah.
We're making money.
Money hides a lot. Money hides a lot.
You know, and we see it now with people we're working for. They're making money, but they're not supporting each other. They're not whatever it is. And it's time.
They're not fulfilled. They're not feeling fulfilled because of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. They're losing all the fulfillment.
What's that?
Hate what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
They hate what they're doing, who they're doing it with.
To work every day and hate your partner or hate what you do. I mean, even if you are making money, it's not about that.
That's a constant burnout. It's a constant burnout. It's, you know, and you might think that and I did too. When I was going through that 10 years, I was very active in my daughter's lives. I was coaching their sports. I was heavily involved in my community. That was like my escape, but that's all it was an escape. So at 6:30, my partner and I would argue. By 7:30, I was on the basketball court, and it was amazing. I loved coaching. I would, coach girls an hour and a half, and I really would forget about everything. I have a way of doing that and whatever it is. And I was just so in the moment and loving coaching girls and loving all that sports, the great things that sports do. But guess what? The practice ended. And the second that it ended, my mind went right back to that frustration, anger, burnout, all of it. I just went right back to there instantly when it was over.
But in all your good partnerships, and certainly in our, Todd and me for sure, is that we've been able to kind of cover for each other in those times, right? That's what great partners do, right? They talk about
servant partnership. Servant partnership is really what we talk about.
Exactly. And you just kind of shift your responsibilities a little bit temporarily until the other person kind of gets their feet back under them. And that's what great partners do. That's how you support your partner when they're burned out. But the key really is talking about it openly, being communicative, being vulnerable, and making sure that they understand, your partner understands what you're going through and why, and then just kind of being there to support them. Being, like you said, servant partnership. That's a great term.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people look at getting support as that they're weak. They got to do it all on their own. And really, support isn't a weakness. It's a partnership. That's the point. That's the point. If I didn't want to or need to rely on you guys, I'd be doing it solo. I wouldn't enjoy it. It wouldn't be, having as much fun.
For sure.
It would not be at all. It'd be more like work. I know we're doing, the 1 + 1 + 1 equation of 50. We're doing more together than I would be able to do alone. And I'm enjoying it as well. And I've been through a lot of huge downs in my life. Ones that, I look back and say, boy, I don't even know how you picked yourself up, after that. And a huge part of that is my partnerships. Just being able to rely on my brothers and sisters in partnership and to get me right and get me through it. And, once you are, carried across the finish line by a partner, you don't forget it. You want to give it back when they're in need, and it might go years before something is in need. But inevitably, it happens, right? Life happens. You're around long enough, and a lot of stuff's going to happen to you. So, just remember, support isn't weakness. It is true partnership.
Support is partnership. That's what a real partnership is about. Support. Support is not about being weak.
Yep.
It's the opposite of it.
And I think the strength, it's measured when it's not measured when we're thriving. So when I first started that partnership, checks coming in, things were great. It's measured when somebody starts to struggle and somebody starts to feel that burnout and somebody, starts to feel like they're going down the wrong path or whatever that is. And another great partnership I have is for, making the girls lacrosse headgear. And there's been so many, frustrating moments, different things that have happened, but amazing partners who are just so supportive in what we're trying to do there. And that's when it's measured, is when I'm down and I make those calls and I tell people some bad news. There's been a lot of, down and bad news with trying to do what I'm trying to do there. And there's been many, tons of positive news too. But in the downtime, when I call my partners and talk about what's happening, all I get back is just amazing support and keep doing what you're doing. And how can I help you get through it? And we're going to get through this and it's going to happen. And at some point in our future, we're going to see that every girl, female lacrosse
you've been working on that for what, over 10 years?
It's been 12 years. Yeah. 12 years.
12 years, right? So there's had to have been times where you're just like, I'm just going to throw my hands up and forget I can't get this done. But you have partners that have supported you in those moments.
Absolutely. And
we'll get it done. It's going to take longer than we thought. It's going to be harder than we thought. But we all believe in this. We believe in each other, and we're going to get this done.
And that feels really good. That feels really good. Feels really good. Feels good.
Because every long-term partnership will face periods where one person needs more support than the other. They'll need more, guidance or just literally physical support, whether it be time or effort. And the goal isn't to avoid those seasons. The goal is to navigate through them together. As, Steve and I say, the strength of the partnership isn't measured when both people are thriving. It's really measured when one of you is struggling. That shows you how strong your partnership is. When things are all going great, it's easy. It's a lot easier. Money hides, success hides a lot.
Covers up problems, right? Yeah. It's when you've got those challenges, that's when you really know where the work you've put in. And it is work and it takes time and it's important to do. That communication takes time. But when you put that in and you have a situation where one partner is struggling, that's when you know that it was worth it.
I think most people would say they'd rather have a successful business and a bad partnership than a good partnership and a successful business. And I think the three of us would agree clearly it's the opposite, because if you have a good partnership, you're going to have a good business. Just a matter of time. Good partnership is good. And if you have a bad partnership, doesn't matter how good this business, it's going to be a bad business at some point soon. Everybody's going to see it and you're going to feel it.
That's so true.
So address the burnout. It's natural, almost expected at times. Life happens. I've like Stephen, you said it before, I've been up and down so many times over the last 25 years, as have you, that you almost have to expect it's going to happen and be prepared for when it does, right? Remember, it's putting deposits in the bank, put deposits in the bank. So again, everybody, we really appreciate, I thought this was a great conversation. I love this topic. I don't like it when I'm burnt out, but
we don't either.
You don't like it, but you do like the support that you get. Like Steven, to have Steven there who's supporting your burnout, it feels really good. It turns something negative into a positive. It's
that's the win.
Yeah, that's the win.
That's the win.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, Todd.
And no, that's all right. No, but speaking of the win, again, contact us if you're looking to build a partnership, fix a partnership, exit a partnership, or end a partnership. That's really what we're here for. That's our passion, and our guiding light is to really kind of help people avoid some of the hard lessons that we've learned. Because we're not talking about anything we don't know about, that we haven't haven't experienced ourselves. So thanks again. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Rob. Everybody out there, you please look us up. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the social channels, Substack, and a bunch of articles that we have up there for LinkedIn. Like Inc. Magazine, LinkedIn, all that stuff. Yeah. So, just search for the Partnership Guys and you'll find us. So, thank you again. We look forward to talking to you again really soon.
Everybody.